Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Kevin from the Pastrami Nation podcast. So happy to today's show is going to be awesome. Very, very excited. We have a very special guest, Ethan Cleveland. He runs a Dungeon Crawler Carl book club on TikTok. We're going to talk about the book club. We're going to talk about Crawling Carl. I have a hard time saying it sometimes. I do apologize, and all that fun stuff. Ethan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Great to be here. Looking forward to talking about the series. I'm glad you've gotten into it for sure. I'm looking forward to you guys covering it a little bit more.
Absolutely. So yeah, like we started off, anyone watching this isn't my normal digs. Everyone who watches this knows I live in a house. This is just hanging out in Seattle for the week for work, stuff like that. Have to keep my mind occupied. So doing some really cool interviews while I'm out here. So that's going to be pretty cool. So, let's talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl. So before we started recording, I had mentioned that I am in the process of reading book 1 right now. It is a series that has obviously been on my radar for a very, very long time. And finally, I just felt like there's just the urge, like something was just crawling at me to get into the series. A bunch of people were talking about it. And it became this kind of phenomenon, like in all the circles I was hanging out in, and all my friends were talking about it. And people were like, dude, you got to check out this series. So when did you discover Dungeon Crawler Carl, and have you been a fan since the beginning, and all that fun stuff? So let's talk about it. What's your origin story with Dungeon Crawler Carl?
Yeah, it started with my buddy. I was in the Navy for 26 years, retired.
Awesome.
And one of my best friends in the Navy, he was reading it and had already gotten to book 7, and he was like, I think you should read this. His and I's entertainment doesn't quite line up sometimes, and so I was hesitant, but I started reading it back in 2024, like the end of 2024. Okay. I've now done 3 passes of all 7 books. Wow. I've went full fanboy, like I have merch, I have I've went and got, I don't know how much you've seen of what they have out there, but I've gotten a lot of the merchandise already, and yeah.
There's a lot. I know, like Five Below had like a bunch of like the blind boxes for like Dungeon Crawler Carl. I saw that for a little bit.
And the keychains too. Yeah.
And the keychains, they had all that stuff. And so first of all, I want to say thank you for your service. My sister, she's also 20 years in the Navy as well. She she retired a few years ago. She lives down in Florida, but thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. But yeah, so there's so much stuff out there. Like I know they're coming out with a graphic novel series now. They talked about, they're going to be adapting. This is what I think I've heard that. Did I read that?
There is so much, Kevin. Like I have a whole folder on my home screen of my iPhone that is all of the different apps and ways that I consume the dungeon. Because Webtoons, I don't know if you know about that series. Yeah. So Webtoons, they did a whole series, and now actually they just released that on May 2nd, Free Comic Book Day, they're going to be releasing the actual volume 1, all of the Webtoons in physical form.
That's amazing.
Giving them out for free at comic book stores, supposedly, if you believe the posts that I've seen. So there is a ton. There's so much out there. It's hard to even cover at this point. And when I got into the books, it wasn't this. Yeah. One of the reasons I started the book club was because I live on a mountain. I'm retired. And I just wanted somebody to talk to about it other than my one buddy who works all the time and is on a different time zone. So, one day I'm just flipping through TikTok, and my feed on TikTok has just become all Dungeon Crawler. And I saw that this guy was hosting this book club. And I was like, well, maybe that'll be a good way for me to do my 3rd pass, because my first pass was all audiobook, and you're doing only the physical, right, Kevin?
I'm doing physical. I heard the audiobooks are actually fantastic.
It is the reason that it started for me, because
Okay.
there's a lot of lore around Jeff Hayes and the voices that he uses and how some of them sound like certain celebrities. And I don't know if you've seen
That's
any
really
of that,
cool.
but I, on this third pass, I was like, well, I'll do it with this book club that this guy is holding on TikTok Live. Comes to happen the first day. I woke up that Friday morning. It was supposed to happen at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And the Discord he had created, his TikTok page, everything was gone. And there was a bunch of us crawlers sitting in Discord waiting for that day. And it was just
Really?
it was just wiped off the map. I don't know. And I still don't know what happened. I don't know if he got scared or just it was too much. But I picked up the mantle, and there was a bunch of people on Discord that had written me and like, hey, what's going on? Did this just disappear? So I was like, well, all right, if you guys want to do this, I'll try to. So I drummed something up. I drummed up a quick script. I did the first one by myself. But since then, I've done some advertising and got some following, and it's picked up pretty good. I'll have at least 5 or 6 people in there interested in talking, chat, or they'll hop on with us. But on my second episode, as I started this journey, I kind of created or got a co-host. She was kind of with me from the beginning, but she didn't appear that first time. And so I have this co-host, Venix, and she's on at least with me every day. So it's not just me out there talking to myself.
That's so cool to have that person to bounce ideas off of and talk about stuff like this with. Super important.
I mean, it is, especially for this series, because it's so complex. And, once you get into some of the later books, it just gets so, there's so much content.
I'm genuinely like shocked, and not in a bad way at all, but like how much content there is Dungeon Crawler Carl, like just the books alone. And like, on its surface, like the story is pretty, like, especially, just kind of hearing about it and kind of reading this first book, I'm like, how, and this isn't demeaning at all, because I know there's numerous ways, but like, I'm trying to figure out how they can expand it to 7 books or whatever. Right. Like, but I know that he's created all these kind of like breadcrumbs and everything throughout that I haven't even caught up to with. Like, there's all these things happening, and I'm already trying to keep track of everything and all these rooms and the characters and things like that.
Once you get to book 3, it's almost it'll tear your mind apart a little bit.
That is wild.
You really, yeah, it is. Matt and I also follow Matt Denneman on Patreon. I follow his Patreon page because he kind of builds his scripts live through Patreon. I'm
that's
not
cool.
Giving anything away here, but so a lot of the book 8, which comes out here in May, has already been out, is already kind of filtering. So I'm trying to not spoil it because I don't want to ingest it any other way than listening to the audio version first time through book 8. And so, but it is that, and it's gotten so big that you almost can't avoid it. Myself, I can't avoid it anymore. It's what I do every day, and I have people reaching out to me constantly. So it's getting huge, and it is very complex, and you have to be able to talk about it. It's almost like PTSD in some ways.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think it's fantastic that you created a space for people to come and do that. Just real quick before we move on, what's your TikTok? Like, well, how would people, let's talk about that first real quick. How do people go to that page and follow?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of cleared my TikTok off, and all I have on there now is crawler stuff and mainly my advertisements. So I've built advertisements in my TikToks.
Very cool.
Videos. So that's all I really have on my page, but it's at CaptKnots 78. And that's my TikTok handle. So at Captain Knots, which if you've ever seen Drinking Out of Cups, when he says if you want some knots tied, you go to him. It's Captain Knots. So that's where that comes from. So that's how you can remember it. But yeah, we go live noon Pacific time. We changed things around. We created our own Discord also. Like I have my Discord handle. I don't know off the top of my head, but we have our own Discord that I built after the original Idea Maker tore everything down. I just rebuilt everything. So we have a Discord too, where we have some spoiler channels in there, and we have some other good stuff. Any artwork, new artwork that we see, we throw in there. And so, yeah, I'm trying to, the reason I started this was so I could give those that were feeling like me that needed a place to like talk about it. They could pop in if they wanted to, have the space to be able to, at least. No,
that's fair. That's totally cool. Yeah. So, like you said, there's this massive world with Dungeon Crawler Carl. What do you think is kind of at the core of why people keep coming back to this series? You said this is your third read through. Now, different reasons for different people gravitate towards different things. I know Dungeon Crawler Carl has kind of become, in certain circles, it's become an icon for certain rebellions and things that are happening right now. But why do you think Dungeon Crawler Carl is so pertinent in pop culture, and why it has developed the following that it has, just from doing your show and everything? Do you have any theories or anything as to why?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think for one, it as you progress through the story, there's something for everybody, the young, the old, demographics. It doesn't matter. There's literally something for everybody as the story plays out. The other one is, and I was listening to some of your guys' old podcasts, and Christian was talking about, I can't remember what you guys were talking about, but kindness being punk rock.
Yeah. And Superman.
Yeah, it was Superman. Yeah. And so I think that it's kind of that same thing here, like the way Carl is and the way he's kind of this everyman's sticking up for and doesn't like bullies. I think his kindness and the fact that there's no real love story in this. It's a story about a guy and his friend that just happens to be a cat. But I mean, it really does pull at your heartstrings. I think there's a lot of reasons, and they're a brand. Like if you look at all of the Dungeon Crawler Carl merch, there's very specific, like the heart boxers and Donut and the Persian cat aspect, and eventually her crown and her glasses. Like all of it just is very marketable, for one.
Right.
Matt kind of built it that way. There's a lot of pop culture in this, so it really does just speak to everybody, I think.
No, absolutely. And there's certain aspects to it. And like you said, the merchandising is a huge thing, right? Like you have the boxers just from this cover alone, you see the boxers, the slippers and all that stuff. And even, Princess Donut, like cute little cat, right? That could be like, like a plushie and things like that, which is really, really cool.
I wonder, Kevin, that just because you're only consuming the physical at this point, like when you go to the audio version, is it going to be jarring for you? Because like, when I read books, I have a voice already kind of in my head or something picked out. And Jeff Hayes does such a good job. I've seen these people that have went the physical route, and then they're just completely devastated and blown away whenever they hear Jeff.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's obviously like, when they adapt something into a movie or something like that, right? Like you have this one idea when you're reading it, and then you're going to the movie. And it was kind of like that when I read Ready Player One, and then I went to the audiobook, the Will Wheaton, which is also phenomenal.
Right.
But it wasn't exactly what I had pictured in my head. And then they adapted it into the movie, which was another layer to it that I wasn't expecting. Yeah,
we're going to get with this too, supposedly. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the gossip, but Peacock has picked it up. Seth MacFarlane and Chris Yost jumping in on the project, and what would be your take, live action or animated?
I think. Gosh, I think animated would be cool. I think animated, I'm a big fan of animation, and I do feel like there's a lot of ways. I mean, obviously if it's Seth MacFarlane, right, you don't really want him to go like the Family Guy route or, anything like that.
Orville, the Orville route is what what I'm scared of.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is like, from what I've read of this book, it is very much like, has a lot of elements of like Hitchhiker's Guide and like all these things, like called into one.
That's my point. Like, if we can do, some of these ones. I mean, Ryan Reynolds showed you what he could do in
Yeah,
Good Guys. I mean, I think if they did it, and Chris Jost, I mean, I think he's proven himself to be able to do something just with a TV series. It's going to be sticky.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think they could do a lot of cool things, and I hope they just do it right. Whether it's animation or live action, I think you can do, there's a million different ways you can do this book, I'm sure. I just hope they pick the right way and the way that's going to stick,
Fingers
right?
crossed.
Fingers crossed. And, I mean, I think obviously like streaming is kind of you have to go streaming to be able to do what you want to do nowadays. And I hope that they really take a lot of care and with this book and the story, because I know it means a lot to a lot of people. And it's going to mean a lot to me as well, because I'm just starting this journey, but I can already tell it's been kind of my comfort book lately, right? Like, I mean, it's just kind of been something I've been reading when things are hard, or I just want to laugh, or just kind of get sucked into this world. And I instantly get sucked into. I mean, the beginning of this book, he's in Seattle, like he lives in Seattle, and I'm from Seattle,
Right.
so like. That Pacific Northwest vibe to it, like I know dudes like him, you know what I mean? Like just like hanging out, smoking, having to watch your girlfriend's cat, things like that, and kind of getting into the rigmarole of it all.
And so there's parts of that book, like in book 1 there, where I tried to figure out. I think I've narrowed it down pretty close to where Carl lived.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, as you go through book 1, there's a couple more mentions as they start traveling of where they end up in a couple places, and I'm like, okay, if all that's true, I think he's from like Bremerton, Tacoma area. Like, I think it's somewhere down in that area.
That would make sense. I can see Bremerton for sure. Tacoma definitely would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and as you go through the book, they referenced it a little bit more.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, like, I connected with this so heavily because Carl being from the Coast Guard, me being career Navy.
Yeah.
As you go through, there'll be a lot more Coast Guard Navy banter that happens. And so a lot of that sucked me in. But also, there's been a lot of ways that I've identified with this. There's a part, and this isn't really spoilers, but Carl eventually recollects that he wishes he would have gotten out of the Coast Guard and went into the forestry. And
right.
I literally, before I even read this series, that when I got out of the Navy, when I retired, I told my wife, I was like, I think I want to do the forestry. I want to do something with the forestry. So there's just a lot of
parallels.
Yeah, a lot of parallels that not just me, but a lot of people could glom onto, because Donut is a completely opposite personality than Carl is. Mm-hmm. So it just leaves room for everybody to kind of connect with somebody in this world.
I think that's going to be the most jarring thing for me listening to the audiobook, is how I picture Princess Donut sounding like right now. Like, I don't know if I'm prepared to like get like a definitive, quote unquote, definitive version of what it sounds like. And I'm like, I'm kind of dreading that in a weird way.
And I've gotten all the physical copies, because there's a part that isn't in the audio version that is in the physical copies.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Backstage at the Pineapple Cabaret. A lot of people don't understand that. They've only heard the audio version. They don't understand there's other parts in the physical copies. And so I'm going through and reading the Pineapple Cabaret, and I can't not hear Donut's voice any other way now. It's Jeff just does such an amazing job with all, I mean, and you don't realize it as you're going through the audiobook for a little while. You're like, are these all different people? Like, it looks like the cover says it was narrated by one guy, but and
it is all one guy.
Voices, and it's just Jeff Hayes.
That's just insane. Amazing.
Yeah, he's an amazing dude.
That's great. I love
it. And they have that version too. Jeff has his own production company, essentially Sound Booth Theater.
Mm.
And they have their own reproductions of the audio versions with sound effects. So when the murder dozer's going around, you're hearing it. And so you could consume it that way. Also, you could listen to the Sound Booth Theater version and
Gosh, that's wild.
like a full radio show, basically.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love it when they go all out with audiobooks because you can do so much in like that medium that you don't need the visuals or anything. You just tell a good story and create the soundscape and everything like that, which is fantastic.
And that's what it feels like, is old school radio to me, like sitting around the radio listening to the aliens are arriving kind of, that's just what it feels like sometimes.
That's so much fun. That is so much fun. I do, again, going back to Hitchhiker's Guide, I remember there was a BBC radio version of Hitchhiker's Guide, which was freaking incredible. One of my favorite things I've ever listened to. And that was great. So like on TikTok, are you noticing that like like you said, you started that page because there wasn't a lot for people talking about it, but do you find a huge presence of it on TikTok now? Is it bigger than you?
And it's hard to tell for me because I'm constantly talking DCC or doing something with it. Is it just my algorithm that's feeding it all to me now? Whereas 2 years ago, it maybe popped up one or two things. I don't know, but I see it constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just everywhere. And I see other people. There's other book clubs out there. I mean, there's a podcast, Hello Crawlers. That's really good to listen to too. If I did that with my second read through, I went through and did it with their podcast, Hello Crawlers, and read along with them because they break it down kind of like I do on the TikTok Live, and they break it down in chapter sections and kind of do it like a book club, and it's three of them sitting around talking about it. So it's good to listen to that one too. They have a lot of good insight.
That's cool. And and again, I've noticed a huge uptick too, like on TikTok. I've actually commented on a few pages like, hey, I just started reading the series too. And every time I say that, like people get so excited. Like there is such like a welcoming and cool community. I notice the people are like,
and it has become kind of a cult, and we do tend to glom onto each other. I mean, because the series isn't done. Right. So we really are in its infancy for the most part. I mean, I know Matt started writing it at the first of the pandemic, but it took a little bit to gain speed, and now we're here. But I see the uptick every week. We get better numbers, even just attending our live book club. So, I mean, and I'm nothing special out there. There's people that are running actual productions and stuff of live book clubs, and I'm just me sitting in front of my computer with a couple other people. But
that's often what people want.
Week. Yeah, right.
So have you? I'm just curious. Have you wondered? I know he just released a new book, Operation Bounce House, which isn't related to Dungeon Carl. Have you checked that one out yet?
Yeah. So I did. I got about halfway through it whenever I started the book club.
Oh, okay.
And so
gotcha.
I haven't been able to go back to it. It's just because this is all consuming, but it's along the same lines. It does have a little bit different feel. And it's just one complete story, I believe, is what he was going for there.
Yeah, he's got his hands full with Dungeon Crawler Carl. It doesn't need much more to.
Well, and he did gangbusters. I mean, Bounce House did very well.
Yeah. It did fantastic. I know a lot of people who have read that and absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, no. So, and he's doing the circuit. Like I keep up with Matt and where he's at in the world. They did a hockey not too long ago in Colorado for the Avalanche. Wedge, goaltender, is a big DCC fan, and so they did a whole night. It was sold out. I was going to go. I mean, I live right here in California. I was going to drive and do it, but it was done before I could even get my hands on it. So they do, they, and by they I mean Matt and Jeff. They do a lot of touring. They're out there doing all the cons and RPG Con and all that stuff. So it's hard to keep up with, but boy, they're everywhere. If you don't get to see them at some point, you're really not trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. That's wild. That's cool.
Yeah.
So Dungeon Crawler Carl, one of the biggest series of all time, or of our age right now that we're going through. Book club, TikTok. What is there anything else you wanted to bring up about the book club or anything that you think people should know about Dungeon Crawler Carl and the book club and how people can get connected and stay connected to all the stuff Dungeon Crawler Carl that's going on in the world right now?
Yeah, absolutely. We run it every Friday at noon, on mine at Captain Knots 78, and we break it down into each book. So in March it was book 1. Each Friday we basically break it down into quarter chunks, and we go through it chapter by chapter and just kind of explain our favorite parts. I have quiz questions that I come up with, like what's Donut's favorite drink, and I went through and I went and got a whole box of the crawler keychains, and so we give those out. Like I gave away a donut keychain last week and sent it off to a listener that contributed to the show the most. And so we do little giveaways, we do little quizzes. We also, one of my favorite parts of the show, honestly, is I do this with most stuff I read.
Yeah.
I create a musical background for it as if it was going to be a TV show.
Gorgeous.
And what you're going to roll during the end credits. What's that song? I've always loved that and critique those songs. Like when The Sopranos, all the ending songs were just amazing. And so I kind of go through and I build a playlist based off of what I've done. And I've built this playlist for the last 2 years as I've been reading this series. And so I have a fully formed playlist. So I go through, I give my pick for the week, and it kind of forms around that section of the book. And then I give a song that's basically pulled from the pages. Usually there's a musical aspect as you get further into it. There's a little bit of musical aspect to this book. And so I pull songs that either sound like what he was talking about, what Matt was trying to get across, or literal songs. There's a Fergie song in there at some point that I had to put into.
I love that.
So, and then I ask if anybody has any songs that they want to add to the playlist, and we have 3 songs each week, and we put those up on our Discord. Also, we have this whole running playlist. It started, I think my co-host V Nick started it on Spotify, so we're on Spotify also with our playlist, and it's building every week as we go through each chapter.
Love hearing that. That's freaking amazing. And I will get caught up. I will get caught up because I love to come chat about the books on your TikTok.
We're only in book 2, Kevin. We're only in book 2, so you're doing good. We're finished off book 2 this week. Next week we start on the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, book 3. So
okay, yeah, I smell a challenge in the air. I can do this. I can do this. We can make this happen.
You got it.
Really appreciate that. Definitely would love to chat about that. So, Ethan, can you just name off the TikTok one more time, just so that people know where to find it?
Yep, at CAPTKNOTS 78. That's my TikTok at Captain Knots.
Awesome. That's so cool. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Really appreciate it. Ethan Cleveland, Dungeon Crawler Carl book club on TikTok. We're gonna do more stuff with Matt about Matt Dimmonen on Dinneman. So we'll definitely be seeing Ethan again for sure. Awesome. Definitely would love to chat more. There's a lot more we can dive into and stuff as the books progress and everything, but I will definitely be joining the book club. Anyways, thank you all for checking out the show. I really appreciate every single one of you. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Go to pastramination.com for a bunch of fun stuff. We're on TikTok as well, Pinterest, all that stuff. What's that?
I said click it.
All right, click it. Let's do it, man. Let's make it happen. Well, thank you all so much. Really appreciate all of y'all. And we will see you guys next time on the Pastrami Nation podcast. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Kevin.
Of course.